Hi everyone, thank you for watching this video and I hope it will help some of you guys to have an idea of how it is to migrate to Brazil. I'm originally Persian and it's been 2 years since I've been here in Brazil, but before I have traveled to many countries, and after all I chose here to live and work. And later in this video, I will explain why.
I have been working in the commercial field for many years, and my story began when I was working for an import and export company. I was in Qatar for a business meeting, and at that time the manager of the company asked me to come here to South America and help the company with the exportation process. I remember that at that time, I immediately and without any hesitation said no. The reason was that I was afraid of here, and actually I think we all know why. The media always shows us things that are not the whole picture, so I was imagining Brazil as a very poor country, extremely violent with a broken economy and a very hot climate. That's right, it's not. After all, they gave me a good offer. And then I came here on an urgent call, and I remember the moment I stepped into the streets of Sao Paulo, I liked the city and the people. After traveling to a couple of states and cities, now I'm temporarily in the center of the country and the continent due to the exportation business I do. The climate here is extremely surprising. Brazil is a very huge country with a rank of 5 of largest countries in the world, with a total area of more than 8 million square kilometers or more than 3 million square miles, which has almost 6% of the total world's landmass on our planet. Wow! As a result, the weather here has a very large variety, with around -10 degrees of Celsius or around 15 degrees of Fahrenheit in the south, to around 40 degrees of Celsius or around 105 degrees of Fahrenheit in some northern states. As you probably know, unlike the northern hemisphere, in which whenever you go more to the northern places, the climate will go colder. So here is the upside. Brazil has a mixture of cultures from all over the world, since most of the population's roots came from the European migrants. I saw people from almost all countries in the world here in Brazil. There is a saying that all types of physical and facial characteristics can be considered as Brazilian. In metropolitan cities, it is very common to see colonies of European, North American, and Asian people whose ancestors or grandparents migrated here. As a whole, people here are very nice and so kind, especially outside of the major cities, in which they are very similar to almost all major cities in the world, that people are more cautious and high-guarded against strangers. But here, even in the bus station, you can talk easily with another person in many subjects. They are very welcoming, especially to foreigners. It's in their culture, and it's so helping to not feeling homesick here. The official language of Brazil is Portuguese, with some interesting differences in accents in its regions. If you want to have a trip to Brazil, you may wish to have a translator with you, since, for example, English is not so common in all states and cities. However, in major big cities like Rio, Sao Paulo, Belo Horizonte, Brasilia and Curitiba, most of the young people understand English, but it's not the case for the commercial points and shoppings.
Brazil is a very populous country with almost 212 million inhabitants, and it will affect all of its statistical summaries.
Brazil has a very powerful economy. However, the population's buying power is not balanced, which means the poor and rich are living together in the same zone. It has a large number of natural resources and surely is one of the major suppliers of many essential items of our planet, such as agricultural and mineral goods. Yes, Brazil has a high crime rate due to the statistics issued by the federal government of Brazil. As I said before, it's a very populous country, and just like many other populous countries, crime is in the day-to-day life here, and you must be cautious in some particular parts of some cities here. I have to say, I have never experienced any kind of violence here, since I never do any careless activities or going to unknown part of the cities, or at least I didn't go there alone. It's good to say that almost all tourists here are completely safe, and homicides unfortunates normally happen between criminal groups or for power, land, authority of criminal subjects, and things like that. I have friends who have lived here for more than 30 years and never experienced any accidents. At the end of the day, Brazil is a very happy country with very happy people regardless of the capital and living materials they own, and I admire them for this indeed. I call it a planet inside a country. It has an infinite number of places you can visit and every time be surprised by its beauty and pureness. From Amazon and Pantanal forests to spectacular beaches, waterfalls, lakes and mountains, and even beautiful civil architecture. Later in some other videos, I will present these landscapes particularly, so you can subscribe and be in touch with more specific details of these points, and maybe it will help you to schedule your trip to Brazil. Currently, I'm working in my professional field of commercial business here. However, when I arrived here, it was the beginning of the COVID pandemic era, and it affected the job market on a very large scale. So I experienced a lot of pressure since I wasn't able to find a job in my area, and I had to work in other areas like restaurants, small factories, etc. until I was given a chance and offered to stay in this current city and work in a very famous and well-known wooden products company. I'm a mathematics, statistics and data science student, and after my graduation I probably would work in this area as well. For other people who might wonder how is the job market, I have to say that Brazil has a huge job market, and if you have a profession then it will not be that much hard to find a job in your area. However, it's essential to be fluent in the Portuguese language for intercompany and stakeholder communications. I am preparing a video specifically for the job market in Brazil, so you can subscribe to have access to my future videos as well.
Alright, as a result, I do recommend visiting Brazil at least once in your life, and it will be even better if you decide to live here for a while to have some beautiful memories for you and for your family. Personally, I deeply love Brazil and I look at it as my home indeed, and I hope one day you would have the same perspective as well. This was my first video and I really appreciate you for watching it. I hope it delivered some useful information for you. Please do not hesitate and write your opinions and questions in the comments, which would help us all to improve our knowledge and understanding. Until next time, ciao.